Should the court reverse a death penalty sentence because of new health issues? So in this case, convicted murderer Vernon Madison's attorneys arguing he should be spared the death penalty because strokes have reportedly wiped his memory clean of committing the crime. His case is being revisited by the U.S. Supreme Court, and it raises a lot of thorny issues. The question, Areva, is can a medical problem or a change in someone's health actually impact a decision like the death penalty?
Well, that's a really interesting question, Travis, and this is a case of first impression. We know that the Supreme Court has dealt with death penalty cases when you have individuals who have really low IQs and individuals who have developmental disabilities. There has been holdings by the court that those individuals should not be executed, that to do so is a violation of the 8th Amendment. It's cruel and unusual punishment. So that's the argument that the lawyer is making in this case, is because this man has had multiple strokes. He's been on death row so long, since the 80s, that he no longer even has the cognitive ability to appreciate the crime that he committed or to appreciate the punishment, i.e. being put to death. And so they're asking the court to treat him as if he were someone who lacked the mental capacity to understand both the crime and the punishment. And I have to tell you, and we've had these conversations before on the show, Travis, the death penalty process is fraught with so many problems, from being racially disparate, so meaning people of color being more prone to be put to death than non-people of color. It's arbitrary as you look across the country. Different states have different rules about who should be put to death. And it just doesn't make good sense because economically it's cheaper to have someone serve life in prison without parole than for them to stay on death row, which now people sit on death row for almost 15 years before there's an execution. So there's just so many legal and bureaucratic issues with the death penalty. I think this case, I'm glad the Supreme Court has taken it up, and I hope this man is not put to death because I don't see any value in taking a life of someone who doesn't even
But if I may, vascular dementia can literally cause people to have no memory of anything, and it's hard to wrap your head around someone being put to death who literally has no memory of anything. But legally, given that the death penalty was the sentence, is there a legal precedent to
There aren't, to my knowledge, any cases where someone has asked the court to allow their sentence to be commuted from death penalty to life in prison because they've lost their cognitive ability due to a stroke. But you can analogize this case to those cases of individuals with low IQs and individuals who have other developmental disabilities where the court has spared them their lives. So that's the line of cases that the lawyer is trying to line this case up with to say this case is similar to those cases, court, and that's why this guy should not be put to death.
So this would be a huge case. Like if it's in his favor, then this could change the fate of a lot of people on death row because they're staying for so long. And that really, I mean, that needs to change because in 1985, people would get on death row and be executed in an average of about 6 years, but now it's like 15 years. Why has there been such a drastic increase in the number of years?
A lot of it has to do with just the bureaucracy of getting the case through the system when you are sentenced to death. You are entitled to multiple appeals. Those appeals start at the state level. They can go all the way up to the state Supreme Court, and then they can make their way even into the federal system up to the U.S. Supreme Court, which is where this case is, and they just take a long time.
And, you know, incidentally, I agree with you that the death penalty is fraught with issues, and honestly, there are a lot of issues that we don't even have time to delve into. But I also think you gotta be a little careful to just forget the fact that Vernon was convicted of shooting someone in the back of the head twice. I think you just gotta be careful. And I think there's so many ethical issues here that are difficult to wrap your head around. And I think one of the biggest issues that I do have is the inconsistency in the court system. And I do think this is gonna set some sort of precedent. And you gotta really dig deep and ask yourself ethically, okay, if someone, and the evidence is completely there that, let's just say some egregious violent act was perpetrated by an individual, but then they completely lose memory of it, there's a lot of stuff that ethically you grapple with, and the death penalty right now is here to stay. Without getting that argument, I think this case, I wouldn't want to be hearing
It's
this
a tough
case.
one.